guess we'll just go.
Yeah.
So what are you going to tell these guys?
Look, this is a meeting just to bring everybody up to speed on the numbers that we're looking at, and the challenges that we see, and talk about what we can do in partnership between ourselves, City Council, the state legislative delegation, to make sure that we responsibly close this deficit and get the city of Hartford on a long-term, sustainable path.
If the state plays a role, what do you imagine it being? Like, what would the state be providing?
Well, look, the state does not have an awful lot of resources right now. We obviously would like to try to get as many resources as we can from the state. We want support in any form. We want to try to increase the pilot if at all possible. But that's we're doing that at a time when the state is looking at cuts, not more spending. So, you know, the purpose of this meeting is to get together with the folks who are up on in the state capitol every day, who understand the challenges that the state is facing, and see if we can work together to figure out a responsible path forward for the city of Hartford.
Is the goal similar to what happened, I guess it was in Waterbury in 2001? Would it work in a similar fashion?
You know, it's too early to say that. We're still at this point discussing what options we should be considering. We have a massive budget deficit. It's a structural deficit that's been growing for years, but it's been covered over for years with one-time revenue, selling a parking garage here, you know, taking long-term reserves there, and that's hidden the real deficit. We've got to face it now. We've got to face the reality of the gap, and we've got to find some responsible, long-term ways to close it so we can get this city on a path to growth.
Would the state get oversight if they pitch money?
We're not interested in a state takeover. We're not interested in surrendering control. What we want to do is make sure we have the ability and the authority to take responsibility to make the changes that are necessary to get the city of Hartford's financial house in order.
The numbers you floated during your town hall meetings were $32 million this year, $48 million the next year, I believe 63, then around 70. Are those in the ballpark?
Those are in the ballpark, but I would say our deficit next year is likely to be larger.
Larger than 40?
Larger than 32.
Larger than 32. Okay. And how do you close it this year? Would it be dipping into the fund balance?
This year it would be dipping into the fund balance. We're doing everything we can. You know, when I came in, we inherited a budget that was already $10 million in the red. And what we are trying to do is squeeze as much cost out of the budget over the next few months. We've put a freeze on most hiring. We're driving down overtime. We've suspended purchases. But that only goes so far. The real problem is the budget that was passed last year by the last administration was never really balanced. And that's the problem. We need to stop passing budgets that are imbalanced. We need to stop covering over the structural gap. We need to have the hard conversations about what's necessary to get this city on the path to growth.
How likely are layoffs?
Layoffs, there is a very good chance that there will be layoffs.
How many?
I couldn't give you a number. The number will depend on where else we can find savings. We need to find a significant amount of savings to close this gap, but savings alone will not close this gap. We also need to find some additional sources of revenue.
What do you hope comes out of tonight?
As I said, look, I talk regularly with the members of the City Council. I talk regularly with the members of our legislative delegation. This is a chance for everybody to sit down and talk about what options everybody sees out there and see if we can come to any consensus about what a path forward looks like that has us, myself as mayor, the City Council, working together with our Hartford legislative delegation that's fighting for the City of Hartford every day up at the state capitol.
You're probably not going to like this question. Do you think a meeting like this is transparent?
Well, look, I've been out talking with the public about our budget crisis anywhere and everywhere I can. You know, I've held multiple town halls. We'll continue to hold multiple town halls. The City Council holds public hearings, and the legislature will be holding public hearings on anything that's done. So there will be an enormous amount of public outreach and public engagement. But I do think it is useful once in a while to have an opportunity for everybody to just put some ideas out there and not worry about you know, whether they're going to be always remembered for putting those ideas out there.
Thanks, Luke. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
All right, we'll be here.
All right.
In case you need anything.